Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're having a fantastic evening. It's me again. Now this time it's not going to be a review or a DVD update. I've just recently did a review a few hours ago, so if you want to see the review, please do so. This is going to be a very different, very serious sort of video. It's about some personal matters that I've been through. Now I was umming and ahhing about whether or not to do this, but I recently saw a video made by someone else who was talking about similar problems that he's been through. So I thought it's a pretty important thing to talk about, and I'm a very open sort of person, so I don't like to hide anything. So I thought, well, I'm going to do it, and I realised that this may give ammunition to some haters, but I don't care about them, and I thought that this is a fairly important thing to talk about because I know a lot of people decide to turn a blind eye to these things, and I think it's really important to come out and at least go to your doctor and see to them. So anyway, this is about my last 6 years of my life, which have been a living nightmare. Worst 6 years by far that I've had to go through, which changed me as a person. And yeah, as I said, it's something that a lot of people go through but decide to turn a blind eye or not talk about it because they're embarrassed. So anyway, this starts a little bit earlier than 6 years ago. It was midway through 2002. And by the way, I have to warn you that this may be a subject matter that's uncomfortable, so if you don't want to watch it, I won't be offended if you choose to turn this video off, but hopefully if you decide to watch it, it is useful. So anyway, halfway through 2002, I noticed something different with my left testicle, and so I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't painful, so I thought there was no reason to go to a doctor. And so I left it, and I decided to ignore it, and I thought to myself, it'll get better. And or maybe that the difference has always been there, I just didn't notice it. So I left it, and months passed, and the actual testicle was growing. And I thought, well, that's not normal. But once again, it doesn't hurt, so there's no reason to go to the doctor. I can do normal things. It's not preventing me from doing anything. So there's no problem. And I convinced myself that the difference was always there. It's not growing, it's just being like that, and it's just me psychologically making a big deal of nothing. So I decided to leave it and ignore it once again. And then it kept growing and growing over the years, and December the 30th, 2004, so it was a little over a year and a half, the actual testicle had grown to the size of nearly the size of an apple. And that's when I thought, well, something definitely is wrong here. I have to get checked out, because there was an actual bump that was coming out of the lower part of my groin, and it was connected to the actual testicle. So I thought, well, it started freaking me out, and I thought I have to go to a doctor. So I went to the doctor, and straight away she told me to go and get an ultrasound. Got the ultrasound. The ultrasound tests came back to the doctor, and the next morning she rang me and said, Adam, it's not good. You have to go straight to the hospital. So I went to the hospital. I had an operation. I had my left testicle removed, and later, from the tests of the operation, they did tests of the testicle, and it come back stage 2 seminoma testicular cancer, and it was pretty. It wasn't the worst. The worst kind is spread to the lungs, but it was stage 2, so it wasn't only contained in the testicle. It actually had grown into the stomach. So I had actually been carrying this tumour for basically 2 years, and because of my denial, it pretty much cost me because it spread to the stomach. So I had the option. I was actually off my feet for 3 weeks because the incision that they had to make in the groin was a lot larger because the tumour was quite big. And so I was off my feet for 3 weeks, and then pretty much had to get into radiation therapy. I spent 7 weeks in Sydney because the radiation therapy waiting list in Canberra was 3 months, which is too long. So I went to Canberra. I stayed in a cancer lodge, which was a place where people interstate come to Sydney to have cancer treatment. So I was living with people who were dying, and I made some friends there. It was a good place, but it was a very depressing sort of place. So 7 weeks passed, and I finished the treatment, and the doctor had told me, maybe you want to see a counsellor because it's very common for people with cancer to go through depression. And I thought, no, it's all over. I can rest easy. It's not coming back. And so I went home, and I declined the offer to see someone because I saw that as a weakness, and I wasn't going to show a weakness. So I went home, pretended everything was okay. But as the years passed, I became obsessed with the fact that the cancer was going to come back, even though it was a 1 in 700 chance. I was obsessed with it coming back, and I slowly, what's the word? I got this impression that it was coming back, and I became obsessed. And I kept on thinking, it's going to come back, it's going to come back, and you're going to have to go through all of this crap again. The radiation treatment made me very sick. It was pretty much from just below my ribs, or just past my ribs down to my groin, so it was the whole stomach area, and I vomited a lot, so I thought I didn't want to go through that. And then after a few months of going through this depressive sort of obsessing over this cancer, I became suicidal, and I thought, well, the best way to avoid going through this again was to kill myself. So I went through a very, very troubled sort of psychological period, and then I finally went to see a doctor. I went to a psychiatric hospital for 2 weeks, and I come back out, and I started doing well again, but then I fell back in my old ways, and then I went back into the psych ward. And since I left for the second time, I haven't been back, which is really good. I'm making progress, but I am still psychologically damaged. I have been through a lot of medications. I have a terrible anxiety disorder, which can strike at any time, but I'm medicated for that as well. And I've developed a lot of mental sort of issues. I'm a very different person, and I'm a much stronger person, which I believe I am because of what I've gone through. But the reason why I'm making this video is because a lot of people do what I did, turn a blind eye and pretend everything is okay, because we don't want to be seen in the public as a weak person. And a lot of the time we think ourselves as weak if we've got something wrong with our bodies or something wrong with our minds. We think we're weak, but the truth is we're not weak. And because of the being scared of how we will be seen by other people, we keep this in and deal with this by ourselves, and sometimes it can get too much. And our demons can take over, and a lot of the time, people will take their own life. Where, you don't have to. Nothing is ever really that bad. You'll feed yourself some lies eventually, and you'll start believing that. And because you're not telling anybody, and you're not getting a second opinion from anybody, you're believing what you're saying, and you're slowly going downhill, and you're digging yourself a deeper hole. And a second opinion of someone else can really, really help. And my biggest regret in life is that, one, I didn't get my cancer seen to earlier, and two, I didn't get my depression seen to earlier. Now, if I did both of these things earlier, a lot of pain would have been, I would have saved myself a lot of pain. So, it's really important that you go out there and you get help, because you don't have to go through this alone. Now, I realise that by making this video, I'm leaving myself open to people insulting me, but, I don't care, because I feel this is a very important video and an important issue that has to be addressed. And, you don't have to go through these things alone, and, it's pain that can go away. I know in my worst days when I was suicidal, I'll take painkillers until I threw up, because I felt that nothing could solve what I've been going through. But since going to the hospital, since getting medicated and coming out of that nightmare, I see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I know a lot of people say there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's true. It really is. And at the worst moment, it's impossible to see that light. And that's why, it's important to at least go and see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, or, at least talk to a friend or a family member, because a second opinion can really help. Because when you're down in the dumps at your worst, you start thinking these things, and they're unreasonable, irrational things. And you start believing your own words. But when someone else is talking to you about it, they start seeing the person that you are, which is not the person that you see. And you start believing what they say, and you start believing that things are going to get better. And believe me, they truly, truly do. So that's what I wanted to make this video about. I hope I guess you really couldn't enjoy it, but I hope you appreciate it. I hope it can help you. If I can get out to at least one person doing this video, then I've done, I'll be happy that I've actually made this video. As I said, I was very reluctant to make it. I didn't know what reaction I'll get. Hopefully it's a decent reaction, but I'm prepared for a negative reaction, but those sort of people are losers anyway, so I don't care. So I hope you found some use from this video. I'll be back to doing my DVD reviews and updates starting from tomorrow probably. I just thought that, you know, I want to get this off my chest and try and help people who are going through a similar thing that I went through. Alright guys, have a great day and I'll see you later. Bye.